Hey everybody, it's Matt from Para or Normal, and today I have the pleasure of being with Donnie from Murder Beach Productions here in Myrtle Beach, and he's going to kind of take us a walk through his world and show us what he does. So, thanks for having us,
Yeah,
Donnie.
no problem, no problem.
So, start things off from the beginning. How did this all start for you?
So if you go way back, I started on as a kid, and just liked horror and haunted houses and Halloween and stuff like that, and sort of grew from that, and just kept with it. It's
Right on.
just a lot of fun creating new and scary things every day. You come in here and you sort of just go with it and see what comes out, and it's always something really cool. So.
No, that's awesome. So, take us a walk through some of the things that you build before we actually go and see the crazy creations that you make. What are some of the things that you make? Animatronics, masks, anything like that? Just walk us through
Yeah,
some of
no.
that.
So we do a little bit of everything here. So we have a full seamstress and costume department that makes costumes and custom costumes here. The girl that does that for us, her name's Nicole. She's really cool. She actually helped start all of this with me and Miss Shayna. And so then we have costumes. We do masks, static props, animatronics, electric animatronics, set design, foam, really anything the industry needs, we do it. So it's really cool to be able to do all that stuff.
That's awesome,
It's,
man.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
it's a
Oh, I,
it's a definitely a lot. So
I'm sure it is, man. And like you said, it's growing. So do you work primarily with just haunted attractions, or do you do things for individual customers? Or
yeah, no. So when I first started here and we started Murder Beach, Imaginations is probably one of the largest Halloween stores that's family owned, brick and mortar. And she wanted to put some stuff on the floor. So I didn't know what to build because, you're always used to building for haunted attractions and stuff. So I didn't know what people would spend money on. So first year, we went in with a couple full size animatronics and then some static stuff. And I was really blown away because people decorating their yards, they'd come in here and just buy it. And I always knew like yard haunts were a really big thing and stuff, but I'm not from here, so I didn't realize that that was a thing here in Myrtle Beach. And so many of these neighborhoods have competitions who has the best decorator, and they spare no expense. Like they will buy whatever you want. They're like, they'll come in, they'll be like, oh, I like that, but can you make it this color? And I'm like, oh, sure. So a week later they'll come back and pick it up, and then they'll order more stuff while they're here. And I was just, it was pretty wild.
that's awesome.
It was pretty crazy. So
That's great. That's great, man. And so from those roots, so to speak, it sounds like that you even entered the game with like the large scale world of haunts, so not just so much here in the local area, but pretty much nationwide. We spoke earlier, and you said that you guys normally have a booth at Transworld. And for those of you at home who aren't familiar, Transworld is like the holy of holy, uh, not just Halloween, but I think haunted house, animatronic, just anything prop related conventions in the United States, and it happens every February. So
yep. So Trans World, growing up and as a kid going through, charity haunts and stuff like that, I knew about Trans World. Like Trans World was like the Super Bowl of
yeah,
Halloween. For any Halloween enthusiast, if you haven't ever been, you need to try to make a bucket list and go, or at least try their sister show, which is Midwest Haunters Convention and East Coast. It's definitely a bucket list thing to do if you love all things horror. But yeah, so Trans World is a massive Halloween haunted attraction show and now Christmas show, interactive show, but it's got escape room stuff now too. Um, and it is like the mecca for anyone that owns an amusement park, haunted attraction, any type of farm or anything like that that is any type of fall festivities or Christmas festivities to go and purchase all their items for the year. And not just for the United States but around the world. Like there are people that come there from Japan and just anywhere that has haunted attractions. I mean, they travel from far and wide to come to this one show every year, and that is like your bread and butter show. Like
right on.
that one right there is where you make your connections and stuff like that as well. So it does really well. It does
That's
really
awesome.
good. So we do that one. We also do HauntCon,
Mhm.
Fear Expo, and trying to venture out on a couple more next year. Trying to juggle. We'd like to do six shows next year. So
Oh,
different points of region.
yeah.
to touch different people, see how it goes and stuff.
Different
But
coverage, yeah.
Transworld is definitely our bread and butter, though.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we talk like the minute the show's over, we're packed, we're heading home. We start talking about, all right, so this is what sold, this is what didn't sell. What are we gonna do? You know, we start planning and sketching for next year, and to come up with bigger and better things. So
Well, and that's kind of what we were speaking about previously, and I think that that's what's amazing about seeing not just what you do, but going to these shows and becoming inspired by the crazy things that people are coming up with. It just challenges you to go bigger and farther.
right.
I mean, you're already talking about expanding the location here with just more ideas that you have. So,
Yeah, yeah. So it's like I said, it's if you're never, you know, it's the old saying like, if you're not learning, you're not growing.
sure.
You know, so you know, growing up as a kid, like a lot of these guys and girls that have been vending at the show were like inspirations to me growing up. You know, and
Hmm.
now you're at this show and you're vending side by side with them, and you know, you're just sort of like, this is, you know, surreal because these people have made stuff for amusement parks and movies, and you know, it's just growing up and idolizing after these people and their art that they do, and then now you're sitting right next to them, you're having a drink with them, you're, you know, conversating and stuff.
Hmm.
It's really cool, and you know, they're giving you advice, you know, questions you may have and stuff. So it's like a big community. It's pretty neat. So
That's awesome. So on that note, then, is that what inspired you to get into exactly what you're doing now? I know you said earlier that you'd started at a fairly young age in the haunted house world, but as far as building what we're about to see before us, where did some of those inspirations come from? Was it just one thing, multiple things, or?
actually, so those inspirations came from. So I'm from like Charlotte, North Carolina
Okay.
area, and there was a Halloween store there that's still open. It was called Morris Costumes.
Okay.
Huge Halloween store, and I just remember going in there as a kid. And seeing all these crazy cool things because that Halloween store at the time, you know, was like us here. You know, they had distortions and they had Scare Factory, and they had their own like production guy that worked there, and his name was Jim, and he's retired from there from now. And I remember going in there and seeing like the life size pumpkin heads from the movie and the predators and the aliens from Alien versus Predator as a kid, and you're just like, what? Like this is crazy, you know? And the grandfather, Mr. Morris, at the time, you know, he did magic. People knew him as Doctor Evil. He had a show back in, you know, my grandmother's era. You know, it's like sort of like an Elvira style show, but he did magic, but it was scary. And it was really cool, and it came on late, you know. And I just remember like going there as a kid and him showing us around and doing magic tricks and stuff like that, and it was just really cool. And that was probably my biggest inspiration as a
Oh,
kid growing up was the Morris family. Like this the whole atmosphere of the store, and it's like a time capsule, you know. Back then to now, it's the same location. You walk in, they still have the same. What's that little guy from Star Wars name?
the little Jawas, or?
The green one,
Oh,
Yoda.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
they still have like Yoda up on the shelves when you walk in because you walk in this huge atrium of the store, and it's just really cool.
That's
And
awesome.
they used to have a haunted house attached to the back of the store.
Mhm.
It was called Doctor Evil's, and it was like a haunted house, but like a showroom at the same time. You know, so you could go through that thing, and it had every prop from distortion you could think of, like at that era. I mean, it was just super cool to see all that as a kid, and then. You know, it sort of was my inspiration for everything. That's why I have a little Doctor Evil tag over there. You
Okay,
know, yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so that was growing up as a kid. That's like was my treat. You know, kids like to go to the mall and stuff. I got
Yeah.
to go to the Halloween store.
No,
So
that's awesome. I was right there with you, man. I was that weird outsider kid who would hang out at any costume shop he could just to look at what's new, you know.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. But that's awesome. And so, what are the big plans for Murder Beach Productions in the future? I mean, I know that's kind of a hard to pin down because you probably got your hands in a lot of fires right now. But
Well, I think with Murder Beach, it, it has Murder Beach has been around for 2 years
mhm,
solid now, and it has grown tremendously in 2 years.
mhm,
Like not steps, like just leaps and bounds in 2 years. And the future goal is to grow, to be bigger, to build bigger things, to expand, to even possibly have a complete line for Murder Beach Productions that we can offer wholesale for Halloween stores and stuff like that. Because there is a huge Halloween convention every year for people that own Halloween stores to go to. It's called the Halloween Party Expo in Las Vegas, and that's where you go and you order everything for your store for that year. So definitely would like to dabble and figure out, props and stuff like that, that we could offer at that show. But that's down the road, because when those people order, they don't order like ones. They order like 60 of this and 20 of that. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
the bulk orders,
You're
yeah.
yeah, so just figuring that out. But in the meantime, continuing to grow and get a bigger space, and to be able to, make bigger items and products and more range of products, and to be able to maybe eventually down the road even have classes for like airbrushing, painting, sculpting,
That
stuff
would
like
be
that.
amazing.
So
Make your own Tom Savini
yeah,
school
yeah, I think
of
it would be
mass
neat.
creation and prop creation. No,
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. Again, just in the 2 years that I've seen you all here, I mean, you've already made leaps and bounds, not just with the animatronics, but as you said, you've already made a line of costumes, which are absolutely amazing. Do you plan on getting into like the mask territory at any point in the future? Or
So we've made a couple masks, and it's just the industry has so many amazing mask makers out there that I just feel like, that they're doing a great job at it, and I nowhere near have the talent that some of these guys have, because they come up with some unreal stuff, and I think I like more the mechanical side of stuff, so doing animations and props and stuff like that, prop sets, designs, facades, stuff like that. Building the bigger scale stuff is where my mind's at.
that's right on. I
So
love it, man. Well, without further ado, here in a minute, he's going to kindly take us on a walk through his laboratory, so to speak, and show us kind of the process behind what he does, and because that's the things us normal people don't ever really get to see. And I think everybody watching will be pleasantly surprised. I'm not here to talk bad about anybody else's work because it's all amazing and it all had to start somewhere. But I think people are going to see something crazy about the things that you do here, not just in the scale and the scope of what it is. But I've seen a lot of props myself, and I will say the first thing that caught my eye and looking at the props that you've made that have been on the floor is, without sounding too horribly cheesy, they've got a texture and a personality you don't normally derive from an animatronic, and that's hard to
yeah,
do.
and that's the craziest thing too. It's like I can go, if you've been in the business or you're just a collector, avid collector, I can go to a haunted house and there's thousands of things in there, and I can walk in and be like, well, that's a distortions piece, because if you notice about distortion stuff, is it has a style that has stuck with it, just like Scare Factory, Poison Props. Unit 70, all Midnight Studios, all these great guys, they have a style, right? Because an artist, even like, for example, a tattoo artist, you can always, if you know tattoos and you see a tattoo, you can tell what tattoo artist
Sure.
did it, because everyone has a style. I have my own style, I guess.
Yeah.
I like that retro 80s punkish, grungy style. That's just who I am.
No,
And
it's
so
and
I think it's cool that people can tell, like, oh, well, Murder Beach Productions made that,
absolutely.
and it's by the paint,
Yeah.
costuming, maybe what it says when it goes off, like it's just, you never know what something's gonna say when it goes off. It could be funny or stupid or whatever, but in this industry, everyone has their own style,
Yeah.
and I think that's great, because in this industry, we also deal with other companies that I wouldn't say are in the industry, but a factory style industry, taking pictures or whatever of stuff that everybody makes in the industry, and next thing you know, something almost exactly similar to what you had on the show floor last year is now sitting in a store somewhere else. That's not nothing to do with Halloween. They
Yeah.
sell 2x4s and plants, and you walk in there and you're like, oh well, that's mine, but plastic, wow, and a lot cheaper, and it's made a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's just like dealing with that aspect too of things is, it's like, oh, I'm flattered, but at the same time, it's like, every year somebody's taking somebody's stuff that, all of us, we don't have a manufacturing facility that churns out hundreds of thousands of these things an hour. We sculpt it, we take time, we put our pride, our joy into it, and then, $1 trillion business. Oh, I think that's cool, and they change the color of it, or whatever.
No,
So,
you're right.
that's it keeps you on your toes. So now, it's like, well, what can we make they can't copy?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the name of the game though. I mean, same with dealerships. This brand over here makes a truck, and then this brand has the same truck. Yeah, it's lifted. But it's the
Right.
same truck. It's just different different brand and stuff. So, but that's one thing I can say about in our industry as sculptors and makers and stuff like that. We really do try to stick to making stuff and being original and our own form of style that
Sure.
you tear apart. And it's crazy because everybody makes severed legs,
Yeah.
right? I mean, can't say, oh, you copied my severed leg, but then you go and look at them and say you get a severed leg from every booth. They're all different, like
Oh, I can
everyone.
imagine.
The paint scheme or the gore or the whatever. So it's just like even that is different, and it's such a common thing for everybody to make. So it's cool to see how everybody's just completely different. Like you met Little Spider Creations down there, and they're foam.
Yeah.
Like they do foam work, and it's just the most amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't even fathom getting a big block of foam and creating that.
It's nuts,
So
man. Yeah.
it's pretty wild. So
Well, and again, I think that's one of the things that myself and all the people that attend these events and go to these haunted houses, I think whether they realize it or not, they appreciate it as well. You would notice a stark difference if you bought a dime store prop off a shelf versus the things that you guys and others like you are creating. And like you said, this is 100% an art. Don't mistake that for anything else. This is 100% art. And like every other artist out there, you have your own unique signature, and that's what you stamp on it. But I think for me, at least, when I walk by the things that you've made, you also see the passion and the love that goes into it. And as horribly cheesy as that may sound, it does translate. And I can only imagine what some of these things look like in haunted houses and haunted attractions. So.
pretty cool.
So I'm stoked to show you all what this gentleman is capable of, him and his team, and I think that's what we'll get into next. So,
Yeah, sounds good.
all right, all right. So go ahead and walk us through your process here, Donnie.
Yeah, so process, it really starts off with this guy right here. You use a bunch of this clay and you pound it on this sculpt, right? And you start sculpting until you get like a face or something you like this. And then from that, you get it all sculpted, you start pouring your ultra cal on it and you start making your mold. Once it's all dry, your mold will come out like this. This is your negative. And then once you pour it and get it all foamed up in latex, you end with a product like this.
Beautiful.
Pretty cool. And then from this, it's going to be a different mask that we have here, but it comes to the paint room back there, and it goes from being blank, looking like that, all goofy, to completely painted, hair, and done.
Awesome,
So, and then, like I said, they're blank, so you can come up with any design, any theme. So once they pool, you bring this guy right here. You come in here. And then you put it on a form. I'm weird, so I like using IV bag holders to hold everything. And then you start mixing your colors and paint. And I mean, at this point, you have a blank canvas, so you really can just go for it and just go crazy with it. Do it really whatever you want. And then finished product ends up, and once it's done, you come out and it ends up out here on the show floor for sale. Like these are a bunch of new ones we just did. These guys. Here's one of our costumes that our seamstress Miss Nicole does. It's called Rotten Cotton. It's been a super big success, but she goes in and details it out, and it's basically the same process for her as well. She starts off with a bunch of fabric or whatever, she puts it together, and then she turns it into these creepy, terrifying bunny rabbits, creatures,
That's
whatever.
awesome.
And then this is sort of like how your sculpt starts and will look like before you cast it. So these are hands that we do, stuff like that.
Okay.
Do a little bit of everything. You got some brains,
Right on.
witches, zombies. Like I said earlier, you can tell, this one's not ours. This is going to be a distortions piece, and how you can always tell when it's distortions is their base is normally gray or whatever.
Okay.
They use a lot of purples and blues, so guys are my inspiration, so I keep like a lot of my inspiration pieces up top when I want to look at different colors that they
Gotcha.
use. Like, there's different grays and stuff like that. So when I'm painting something, I have different tones up there of different paint schemes and schemes that you can sort of go by. And then when you got all that done, you get everything painted, you get really creative with it, and then you make something big like this. This is a customer's that they ordered. This is going to a haunted house in Kentucky. Their mascot, I guess you say, I don't really say mascot. Their spooky character, it's Bigfoot. Super cool story behind how they chose that. But yeah, so you start off with that, you get everything painted, you come in, do your foam and your skulls and paint and keep going. And this guy right here is fully animated, so we'll end up programming him with our prop controllers and stuff. This is going to be a big photo op for there. And then we're working on another order. This is a full body sculpt that we did. This is going to be for our electric chairs that we're making. So this would be the electric chair body and the chair. So it's pretty cool. Thing is, like with ultra cal molds, they're very heavy. So this is probably like, I'm going to say anywhere between 250, maybe a little bit more pounds. So you flip this over, do the same process, coat it in latex, let it all dry, foam fill it, and then pop it out. And then you got a full electrocuted sculpt guy that's going into a chair. So that's really what we do.
That's awesome.
How it starts. So.
And you said earlier too that you have a partner that you work with that actually does mold, like welding of the frames and things like that you guys do molds
Miss
over.
Miss Shayna actually owns Imaginations, which is the big Halloween store out front. And her significant other, he does all the welding and stuff for us, and we sit down. And then her son and her son's fiance, Amber, they help do a lot of the pouring and painting and stuff like that if we're all backed up and everything like that. So it's like a huge family.
That's awesome.
Family effort that we have everything going on here. And then Nicole, like I said, it's fun when we sit down, we start coming up with ideas because you got to figure out a costume for them. Well, they can't be naked. I mean, they could, like the fat guy up there, look naked. But then we come up with costumes and paint themes and schemes, and if we're gonna do it on rocks or we're gonna do a background for like a slaughterhouse, which is all rusty and stuff. And then we use a lot of different paints that we get from people in the industry as well. We use a lot of brutal rust, which is a paint that you put on something where it can be a table or a prop or a costume, and you use an activator that they send you with this paint, and it actually turns into rust.
Oh wow!
So it's pretty weird.
That's
how it
wild,
works.
man.
I've always tried figuring it out. And then we like this guy. This is one of my best friends. So anybody always wondering how we make everything look so gory, all of our blood and stuff comes from Monster Misfits, and we order it in these big 5-gallon buckets. So I like making stuff gory.
Yeah.
So, and then he makes all this stuff for us. And you can order this if you want your own.
All right. It's available to the public. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's just
a bucket of blood.
Right.
Literally.
Total bucket of blood, and when it dries very shiny and ready to go, man.
That's
and you can put that on costumes, or we advise you probably not to eat it, but
yeah, I'm sure it's not non-toxic, but that's okay.
Non-toxic. And then so then we have where's another one I poured yesterday? I don't know if I can get to them or not. These are our, and we'll take this guy and we'll go out on the floor with it, and we'll show you how he turns out.
Okay.
So this guy.
Oh sweet.
So this guy comes out of this big, heavy mold. So basically the same process as everything over there. You coat it, paint it, pour it, and then they turn into these guys. So this is the second step after it's painted, is you do them all paint. So you got your solids and negatives.
That's wild.
And then we also do them in a black light as well.
Oh, I love it.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's really how it all starts here. It's like we've been trying to come up with a name for our shop, so I think it's the Fright Factory.
There you go. I like it, man.
So that's how it starts, man. It starts from powder to clay, from clay to a cast, from a cast to latex to foam, paint, and then something like that. So.
One last thing before we go out on the floor there and you can actually show some of the people some up close and personal stuff that you've done. Walk everybody through these computers, because I don't think this is a common knowledge thing, and maybe only a few of us nerds will actually like it. But I thought this was pretty wild. So
So these are actually our prop controller computers. So this is what is the brain to everything. So this will make, you can turn lights on, lights off with this computer. Anything that's on an air cylinder or a RAM can function with this computer right here. So say you want him to go off, you'll program your channel for him. And then say you want a door to slam open to indicate it's time to move forward in your haunted attraction, you can program another channel for that. Sound, lights, everything you need to know in this tiny, tiny little
that's crazy,
wearable, probably not wearable, I'm kidding. Tiny little computer that goes on all that stuff. So
awesome,
that's how
man.
those work. So it's pretty neat. And they get really tiny too. You can get really little. Very
I
little,
just,
so.
yeah, I think that's wild when you showed me that. Like you said before, when you kept saying computer, I'm thinking somebody's got like a laptop with 100 cables hooked up
Now,
to it. And
now, when I said before, now back in the day,
yeah.
you had PLC controllers. So
Okay.
PLCs, you did plug in and operate it through like a Windows system or whatever controlling system that would do that programming
Yeah.
for you. Some people still use those. Some companies still do a big full hard set. These are just super easy. Like it doesn't, that way if you're at a haunted house and it's not working, if you have knowledge of this stuff, you can go and pre-record what it needs to do and stuff like that.
No, I think that's so much more efficient, and
Yeah.
again, it's just not what I pictured. So I
No,
think
I mean,
that's
and
really
it's
cool.
cool too because everything's built into this thing. Like your sound, your volume knobs are right there, your amplifier inputs and outputs, your regular speaker inputs and outputs. Everything is built in, and it's also built in with a small amplifier built into it as well. So you can use like surround sound audios and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. I think we'll kind of walk out of the shop here in a second, and I'll let you show everybody what you guys have been up to out there on the store floor.
Sounds good.
Awesome, man. All right, Donnie. So I'm going to let you walk us through some of your finished products here.
All right, guys. So these are our puke barrels. If you've been to Trans World or any of the other shows or follow Trans World on YouTube, you've seen them. They were a huge hit last year. This one's a little different. I made like a retro 80s arcade style looking one with all the greens and stuff. I like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
So you got this version. We have this also in a swamp version. It's got moss and all types of vegetation and mushroom stuff growing on it. It's pretty cool. Then we have just a plain neon toxic version with toxic sludge and all that. And then you have your blood version, which is like this one right here. This one's our second biggest one besides the neon green one that we sold last year. These guys are pretty cool. You can pretty much customize them however you want. Like I showed you before in there, I showed you the blank that we pull out of the mold, how they're painted, and this is the final step for them. They get attached to these 55-gallon drums. The drums get done up, costumed, and this is how they come out to the shows and on the show floor here at the store. Actually here, we're actually in the store. This store is open year round, and we make this stuff year round. So if you want to come see it yourself, you're always welcome to stop in. We're open 7 days a week. So this is a new guy we got finished the other day. He's pretty cool. So he is what I call like an actor-driven prop. So you can plug him up like this and put him in a corner, or you can have the option, sort of like a la carte a little bit, is you can add some different options to him. You can add sound or whatever. You can also add another step we call actor control, and basically where he stays animated and the actor can walk around the entire amusement park or haunted house with this guy fully unplugged from the wall and moving. We can add air cannons to him and stuff like that, so the actor can push him around and scare people with them, stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
He's a lot of fun. This is just something that we want to make. I thought it'd be cool, like a little trick-or-treater dressed up, and her candy bucket and her head and all that stuff's in the bucket. And then we have Drunken Jack, our drunken pirate, and the whiskey drum. So
He was the first one I was ever introduced to. Was this fella right here?
Drunken Jack. He's been a great one. And like these guys right here, they're all electric, so you don't need air to run any of these. Now, if you wanted these guys built in air, we definitely can do that. We can accommodate that. But yeah, so you can put these things anywhere you want them to go. Just plug them straight in. Everything in them and all their mechanisms are all waterproof. So if you want to leave them outside, some haunted houses leave stuff outside. They'll still work the next year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so this is some of our stuff. This right here is our weapons wall. So these are our weapons and stuff that we make. They're pretty cool. They're all foam, all that good stuff.
Again, extremely realistic. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Sir.
That's insane.
Hammers. They're pretty neat. And then if you come to the store, this is our paint room from the outside. You guys can sit in here, watch us paint, ask questions, anything like that. To give you a little bit more insight, these are our clown hammer or clown bats, stuff like that. They're all neon active, and with 3D glasses on, these are three-dimensional. The paint that we use is 3D. And they also go with our suits that Miss Nicole makes. All of our 3D clown suits and stuff like that. These are our biggest selling clown costumes that we make. They have been 2 years in a row, 2 years running. We sell these things like hotcakes, especially during showtime, but we do have some in stock on the floor. Along with the orange ones like this, they're also 3D active, but a lot of people really just go for these. Honestly, when we first made the first one, I was in a bad mood. And I was like, it's never gonna, I hate neon. Like, neon is not my thing. I do not like it. And Miss Shana, the owner, she's like, I want neon ones. It's gonna be so cool. And I'm just like, oh my God, neon. Why? And it's literally been like, people come to our booth, they sort us out, and if they don't remember where we were and they come by the booth and they see these, like, oh my God, those are the people from last year. We were looking for these suits, and they buy these suits. I don't know.
Hey.
I don't like neon, but haunted houses have them. That's just my preference.
They work with the black lights. I get it.
They work great. I'm just more of that grungy, down dirty type of guy, you know. We also, our second biggest selling thing is our handmade custom straight jackets that Nicole makes. I wish she was here. She can explain a lot better than I can on the sewing part. So she sews this together now, and so these are made out of a military canvas material, all leather straps with steel grommets all the way around. So we have 3 different versions of these. So you have your standard Bloody Mary, which is this with the blood on it. You have your regular jacket, and then you have your Cooper jacket. So the Cooper jacket is an exact replica of Alice Cooper's straight jacket he wears on stage.
Nice.
That one's really cool. We do have another option. It just takes a lot of work to make it. We do have the 13th Ghost Jackal style jacket as well that we make. We do that one. We make that one probably one time a year. That's the most expensive straight jacket that we sell. Our straight jackets, they vary between like $175 to $250 for a custom straight jacket. They go from small all the way up to 6X. And that was our thing when Nicole was talking about doing costumes is I know from experience of being a manager at a haunted house, when you have a big guy, sometimes it is damn near impossible to find them a costume. So she felt like it was only fair to have, if this is a custom costume line we make, then we'll have one in every size. And if we don't, we will make it for you in that size. So pretty much everything you see here goes all the way up to a 6X in everything she makes. And then down here is her other sections, or holiday costumes is what we call them. So you have your Easter Bunny, which we have 3 different styles. So you have more of like the older vintage looking style, which is on top of the coffin, comes in a full costume. You have the deluxe style up top, and then you have our economy style. What we mean by that is the price points are a little lower, a little higher. We have our hillbillies and our chainsaw aprons. So all these are all leather aprons all the way through. They're fire resistant.
Look at that.
It's good, right? You know. So hillbillies, and then we have our Christmas collection, which are Santa Clauses and Mrs. Clauses and the Grinch, which is pretty cool. She does a really great job at all that stuff. But yeah, and then we have our actor staffs over here that we make. These are really cool. This was actually one of the first products that Murder Beach ever made were these. So, but they're very durable, and
You said you were made from oak, right? So yeah, that can take a beating.
yeah, it's gonna take a beat in. And these are customizable. You can have them ordered however you want. You can add air horns to them. We even have a variant that has a taser built into them.
Oh wow!
But the taser, the way it's built, the taser can never touch anybody, but it's in like a metal tube, so it's extremely loud.
Gotcha.
It goes inside there, so it's really cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, this is some of the stuff. And then, like I said, this is our booth that we take to the show back here. It's all handmade here at the store. So this is
I hope I don't break everything.
oh.
I just keep messing stuff up. This is not a store you're meant to walk backwards in, just so everybody knows. But yeah, there it is. Beautiful, man. And one thing I do want to point out for anybody that's interested, and I didn't know this as well until today. So a lot of these pieces here and a lot of the pieces you see on the floor, absolutely customizable to you.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
so if you want to order one of these and you want to paint it whatever you want to paint it, you want it to have like graffiti, tattoos, or whatever, make them however you want, because when we pour them, they come out blank. So if you don't buy the floor model and you want to custom order one, then you sure can custom order
Awesome.
one. So everything is customizable, especially when you make it. So.
Right, there you go. All right, well, that was the complete walkthrough. Donnie, amazing things you're doing here, brother. Thanks for letting us to
Yeah,
come in and take a look at what you do.
thank you guys. Thank you.
Again, this guy's blown up, so we'll actually put a link to the website in the comments so everybody can come check out the work him and his team do. And again, I can't thank you enough, and we're looking forward to seeing your pieces at future haunts that we walk through in the future, man.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us at Paranormal. See ya.
Have a good day, guys.